Welcome to In Focus. I'm your host, Thuy Phan. Self-defense is something that every woman, man, and child needs to think about. No matter how much we think we are invincible or believe that it won't happen to us, it can and it has, and what we want to do here is help educate or instill certain survival tips into your head so that if ever you needed to use them, you at least have an idea of what to do. These aren't guaranteed methods, but they are good tips and tools from one of Little Saigon's best resources for safety. In April of this year, a young Vietnamese girl was returning books from the library in Tampa, Florida, when she was brutally raped and beaten. In the months after, it came to light that the attacker had blinded her, and her condition requires extensive rehab, and her road to recovery is still a long way away. Her story has touched many people, including us here at SBTN. It inspired us to find out what we could do in our capacity to educate the public on some of the things you should always be thinking about to keep yourself safe. For this, we found Michael Nguyen, a detective at the Westminster Police Department who trains his own colleagues in self-defense. Listen to what he says you should be doing every time you leave your home.
You know, if you're going to go somewhere, you know, that's at nighttime especially, I would suggest that you go with somebody. If you can go with just one person, that's fine, but if you can go with a group of people, that'd be even better, okay? But I know there's some situations that you're going to have to go by yourself, but like I said, if you're going to go, just say to a mall or a grocery store, I know a lot of people like to park away just so they can get a parking spot, but it's more practical and more safe for you to park near the entrance and park where there's other cars around or people could see, okay? And especially if you're going somewhere that you don't know, just say you have to go out of the city that you're not familiar with, then I would recommend that you would go with somebody, especially, you know, in an unfamiliar area, because you don't know what's going on in that area. You don't know if the area is safe, and if you can, research the area as well. If you're going out and to your car, have your keys ready in hand, okay? Don't be on your cell phone, because a lot of these, you know, people who are doing bad things are looking for people on their cell phone who are distracted. So have your keys out, and I would recommend pepper spray if you are comfortable with that. But just have it out. Don't be occupied. Be aware of your surroundings. Being a cop, everywhere I go, I'm always looking around. It's just second nature to me, and that's how people should be, especially when they're in an unfamiliar area. They should be looking around all over the place to see. When you get up to your car, look in the back seat just to see if somebody is hiding back there at nighttime. I know daytime it's probably not going to happen, but it can. Just look in the back seat of your car. Tell somebody where you're going. I know that's not going to prevent you from, you know, somebody attacking you, but if you go out missing, it would be good, you know, to have somebody know about it. Here's another thing. There was a scam recently, and actually happened to somebody I know. Somebody threw something out in the street. A female hit the object, and her tire became flat. What the suspect did was threw the object out so the tire would get flat. So what this female did was she got out of the car to look out, and then all of a sudden a suspicious male came up to her and said, "Hey, did you need help? Did you need help?" And of course the female person said, "Yeah, I need help," but he ended up attacking her and then robbing her at the same time. So there's a lot of scams out there. There's another one, they'll deliberately get in a car accident with you, like rear end you just barely, to have you get out of the car, okay? So I recommend, if you're not familiar with the area, if there's not a lot of people around, don't get out of the car, lock your door, call somebody for help, call the police for help. Just be aware of your surroundings, okay? If you feel like there are other people around that you can trust, then do it, but just be aware. If you feel something is hinky or suspicious, don't get out of the car, because people are also looking not to only attack you, just steal your property. What they do is, a lot of women leave their purses in the front passenger seat and the windows are rolled down. So they'll run up and they'll have 2 or 3 guys. If you see 2 or 3 guys, that's pretty suspicious in itself. Don't get out of the car, roll the windows up, because they'll try to steal your car. This is another thing, being aware of your surroundings. You're driving in a car and you make a turn, and all of a sudden you see somebody behind you just following you on your way home. You don't want to obviously go home and where you live. Just keep driving, try to drive to the nearest police station, call the police and say, "Hey, I got somebody following." We get calls like that all the time here, that people are following them, and what we do is lead this person to the police station, and that way, if the person is following them, then the police will come. And one more key thing is making noise, okay? If you can make the most noise as possible by screaming, this person is most likely going to run away. They're not going to even deal with it. They're going to they're going to be spooked, you know. They're going to say, oh, you know what, somebody's seeing me, I got to get out of here, okay? So, and something to think about too, you know, a lot of girls have nails and stuff like that. And with technology these days, grabbing the skin grabs DNA from people, okay? A lot of people don't know that within the next year or so, all people who are arrested for felony crimes are going to be required to give their DNA sample, okay? So if you're not familiar with some cases, there have been DNA scraped from victims' insides, and then they get a DNA match. Never be afraid to call 911. That's what we're here for. I also work in dispatch, so I take calls all the time about that. Any person who calls 911, we don't take it lightly, especially if somebody's following. If you really feel like your life is in danger, feel free to call. You're not going to get charged for calling 911. It's there to use. And just be aware sometimes that if you call on your cell phone, it will go to Highway Patrol. It won't go to the local police department, so be patient. Just let them know what city you're in and have them transfer you to that police department. So that's another thing, being aware of surroundings. If you're driving in an unknown area, try to find out the city. Maybe do some research about what other cities are around. I know it's a lot, but I mean, it could save you in the long run. Vietnamese people are scared to call the police because they're afraid that somebody doesn't speak Vietnamese on the other line. Dispatchers, all dispatching centers has a translation service. They can call immediately and translate. If they call 911, we can find out at home. Your address is going to pop up on the screen, so we can get help there. It's better to call 911 than to call a friend first because that time delay, you know. So like I said, there's translation service. Don't be afraid to call. We have every language possible on the translation service. If a guy is a rapist, just say, if he's going to go out there and look for a target, he's going to look for somebody who's wearing easy, accessible clothing, i.e. a short skirt, you know, tank top or something. They're not going to go for somebody who's going to be wearing a lot of thick clothing where they have to take it off. Sometimes, you know, they do carry knives or scissors where they'd have to cut it off, but they want something they can cut off really quickly. So yeah, the clothing is a deterrent, but it's not something that's going to be the reason why you get raped, I think, but it can be. If somebody's holding a gun to your head, that's something that you have to think about, okay? I'm not going to be the person to say fight, because for me, in my situation, I probably would, because I know this person either is trying to get, and I know certain techniques to do a gun takeaway, okay? That's why self-defense, if you can learn something like that, that's okay, but it's an individual decision at that time, and I won't be able to make that for you, but if they have a knife, you know, you just got to look for the opportunity if it presents itself. If not, then you can test it. I would say you can test it by yelling and see what this person's going to do. Just keep yelling. A lot of times, they're going to freak out and they're going to say, forget this. A lot of times, they're just doing that to scare you, okay? So just make a lot of noise and yell, and kick and scream. You're going to know if they really mean business, if you're feeling something or whatever it is. But like I said, every situation is different. Everybody's different. It's going to be, if you're in that situation, you're going to have to ask yourself, how important is your life and how much danger do you really think you are? How much are you really going to fight? What I do now is just go over some basic techniques for an instance where an attacker is going to attack you. Okay, basically, an attacker is probably going to attack you 4 basic ways. Okay, they're either going to choke you from behind, headlock you from front, or choke you in front with 2 hands. Okay, so I'm going to have my assistant here just show you real quick exactly what's going to happen. I'm just going to do real quick the 4 ways. The first way is this way right here. Come up behind you and cover your mouth so you won't scream. Okay. Second way is come up behind you and get you in a bear hug this way, covering your arms. Okay. Second way is come up behind you without the arms and bear hug you this way. Okay. And the last one, if you're in an enclosed place, they're going to come up to you and just choke you like this. Okay. What to remember in every case there is once the person grabs you, your immediate reaction should be because most likely you're standing like this, you got to drop your base immediately. Okay, that means spread your feet and drop your base. That way you have a strong base so you can move. Because if you're like this, just say how she's sitting here like this with her feet together, I can push her around like that. okay? But widen your base, wider, and drop down. I can't, it's strong, okay? So that's the key thing to remember. Once this person grabs you, you have to react. If you don't do nothing, then this person is going to take you. So I'm going to go to the first one, the headlock with the mouth covering. If a suspect, I'll be the suspect. This person is the victim here, okay? Comes up behind me and puts the choke right here. The first thing to do is to drop your base, and you'll notice that she's dropping her chin in my forearm. This allows me not to choke her out, okay? Because if she doesn't drop her chin, I can just choke her out. My whole arm is in there, and I can make her pass out, okay? So again, drop the chin there, drop the base. Next, okay, she's going to grab, I'm going to have here, okay, she's going to grab my forearm. She's going to dig in with the nails that she has, okay? She's going to try to pull down as far as she can in my forearm, okay? And then she's going to release. And now she's going to move her hand that's closest to my elbow and push downward is up to get over, okay? While she's doing that, she's screaming, she's making a lot of noise, or whoever the victim is, it could be a guy. The person's screaming, making a lot of noise, okay? Sometimes the person's stronger, so if I'm doing this and she's doing all that, okay, distraction strikes, okay, pain, okay? Key areas is the eyes and the groin on a guy. Most people can't take pain, so they're most likely going to let go. So just a quick thing, she can go for the eyes or punch down at the groin area, okay? And that's this one. So we'll do it one more time really quick. I'm going to go behind you. Put your headlock, immediately go. Drop here, push on your elbow, and that way. Again, this is going to take some practice. So if in your spare time, I don't know if you can practice on your own, but it's something that's not going to work every time, but it gives you an option, okay? The next one is the bear hug from here. I'm coming up behind, immediately she's going to drop her base, okay? If you're really quick, she can just drop down, lift her arms up, and push away, okay? This requires, again, practice really quick. It has to be done. So if I go like this, she drops her base, I'm gone, okay? But a lot of guys are strong, but they can hold on. They can't do that. If that's the case, again, distraction strikes, okay, to the groin, to the side, headbutt. You also can headbutt me to the head, okay? And then you got to work the fingers. You got to eventually get out. You got to do what you can. Eventually, they're going to let go. No matter how strong they are, work the fingers and get out. And while you're doing that, you notice that her mouth isn't covered. Again, scream, okay? Scream as loud as you can, because that will make the suspect most likely just try to let go. They don't want to attract attention and leave. We'll go on to the next one. Same thing, pretty much concept. Comes up from behind and grabs here, okay? Drop the base again. She could headbutt me, okay? Headbutt with the head, not the fist. There you go. Headbutt there, or the eyes with the hand. Or move to the side and strike the groin, okay? Then once you're doing that, once the suspect is in pain, again, work the fingers. You can bend them as hard as you can. Look, I'm actually doing a lot of resistance, and it's hurting me, and she's going to get out, okay? That's the third way. The last way, really quick, is coming up from here, okay? This one's is quite difficult because the person's really strong here, okay? Again, I choke, drop the base to get some base, okay? She's going to come over with her hand, okay? Try to break the grip, okay? And basically get away while she's screaming. If that doesn't work, again, try it and it doesn't work. I'm holding, okay? You got to drop your base a little bit more. There we go, okay? If that doesn't work, her fist is right there. You notice both hands are right here, so I really don't have too much to block as a suspect. She's going to go for the eyes. She's got a perfect rear load for the kick, okay? Right in the groin, okay? I don't know, most people can't take that, and they're most likely going to let go. And that's basically the four techniques that I have right now, basic techniques that will help in a case of an attack.
Coming up after the break, we'll show you how technology can work for you when it comes to known sex offenders. You won't want to miss it. Stay with us.
Gọi Việt Nam chỉ có 4.7 cent một phút.
Đúng vậy, chỉ có 4.7 cent một phút gọi về Việt Nam. Âm thanh rõ ràng, gọi phút nào tính phút đó. Với DTC Telecom, một công ty đã từng cung cấp dịch vụ viễn thông cho cộng đồng người Việt hơn 10 năm qua, quý vị sẽ không cần phải đổi công ty điện thoại,
không cần số pin,
không hết hạn,
không bị mất phút, gọi phút nào tính phút đó.
Hãy gọi ngay cho chúng tôi để được hưởng giá thấp 4.7 cent. Chắc chắn quý vị sẽ hài lòng với dịch vụ của chúng tôi. Xin hãy gọi ngay 1888 707 9992 hoặc vào website dpctelecom.com hay bypinless.com.
Summer sale, summer sale, summer sale.
Vi khuẩn mốc meo, phấn hoa, bụi bặm, lông thú. Hãy chống lại chúng bằng sản phẩm tân tiến EP Eurosona của công ty Eliot Paris. Môi trường ô nhiễm từ bên ngoài sở làm, ngay cả tại nhà mình, tấn công ra mặt bạn. Ta hãy chống lại chúng bằng kỹ thuật tân tiến Enion và Ionic cùng các loại tinh dầu danh tiếng. Bạn sẽ thấy rõ và sẽ cảm nhận được ngay tức khắc. Hãy chọn cho mình sản phẩm hiệu quả và hoàn hảo Eliot Paris EP Eurosona.
Quý vị đặt mua máy EP Eurosona hôm nay không những mang về chiếc máy đa dụng hữu ích mà còn được tặng 2 lọ tinh dầu đặc biệt trị giá $20 và gọi trong vòng 30 phút tới được tặng một bộ Euro Brush Set 40 Mỹ Kim. Tất cả chỉ có 5 payment 29 đồng 95, thật dễ dàng. Nhưng thời gian tặng quà có hạn, gọi ngay được giảm 1 payment và nhân viên chúng tôi sẽ hướng dẫn để tiết kiệm thêm $30. Thời gian sale có hạn.
Welcome back to In Focus. I'm your host, Thuy Phan. Before the break, we heard extensively from Michael Nguyen, a detective specializing in teaching self-defense techniques to his colleagues. In this segment, we'll show you what Megan's Law is and how it can be used to help keep your family safe. In addition to these self-defense tips, we want to show you another powerful tool that, if used right, could help you ward off potential danger. It's something called Megan's Law.
Megan's Law was enacted back in 1996. It's named after a Megan Kanka, which was a little girl back east who was unfortunately murdered by a registered sex offender. Megan's Law, what it is, it does two basic things. It requires all sex offenders to register with the local law enforcement agency that they live in, depending on what city. And it also allows the public to access that information. One of the ways that the public can do that is to get onto the Megan's Law website. And you can do this a couple different ways. You can get onto the California Attorney General's Office website, and they'll have links there for Megan's Law. And what you can do is type in the zip code of the city that you live in, or you can search different areas, different counties. And what it will do, it will bring up a map with all the registered sex offenders and where they live. And will also, you can search by particular individuals' names, and I'll give you those names as well.
This is particularly helpful for parents because it will let you know if you are living close to a registered sex offender.
The main website is in English, but if people want to contact the DOJ, Department of Justice, directly, they can do that, and that information will be forwarded to them in whatever language it is that they feel comfortable with.
Each state has a different way of accessing the registry, but we will show you here how California's website works so you can get an idea of why it's such a good resource. First, you want to go to www.meganslaw.ca.gov, and it will take you to this website. Here you can choose the language you want, and because California has a high number of Vietnamese living there, Vietnamese is also an option. So as long as you can get to the website, navigating shouldn't be a problem if language is a worry. From there, you can read the disclaimer and click Continue. The next page will take you to the terms and conditions of use, and you must click this box here and then click Continue. The next page will take you to a map of California and its counties. You can choose how you want to look for offenders, either by name, address, city, zip code, county parks, or schools. Once you input the location you would like to see, you click on Listing, and it will pull up all the sex offenders registered in your area. Within the area close to SBTN's zip code, 19 sex offenders came up. Of these, 3 are Vietnamese. This is what happens when you click on their profile, a mugshot with a description of their physical features. You can click on offenses, and it will let you know for what reason they are on their website. You can click on any of these photos and look at their pictures or find out where they are currently living and if it is close to you. Every offense carries with it a different penalty, and the number of years a sex offender needs to continue to check in and register depends on the severity of the crime. Again, this is not an answer to warding off sexual assault, but it can keep you informed and familiar with faces that may be of use to you in the future. Again, this is a tool that can help you be aware. To find out how to access this in your respective states, you can type in Megan's Law plus your state. For example, let us try Megan's Law, Minnesota. This page pops up. Although it is set up a little differently, by clicking here, you would also be able to access the registry.
Pretty much a nationwide law. Here in California, that's how you would access it. As far as other states, you would probably just go on the regular Megan's Law website and then go from there. Well, for the general public, it's more of an informational type thing. It used to be in the past that whenever a sex offender would move into the area, especially if it was a serious sex offender, we would have to go out and by hand deliver flyers to all the neighbors within about a 300-yard radius of where that person was going to live. Now people can go onto the site and access these individuals' addresses and things of that nature, their names, and that's a good thing for the public. What happens is that all the 290 registrants, the sexual registrants, they know coming out of prison when they get released that they need to notify the local agency where they're going to be living, where they're going to be at, residence address, all their personal information. They're required to do that every year within 5 days of their birthday. Now we have a lot of transients that are 290 registrants. They have to come in with their local agency and register every 30 days. And what happens is that they don't do that, we keep track of them. If they don't do that, then they're subject to criminal charges. And we work with not only us as a local agency, but also with parole and probation as well. It varies depending on what type of crime they committed. A lot of them are for life. Some of them, maybe it's going to be like 10 years. It's all up to the court systems, but I'd say a great majority of them are going to be for life, that they have to register every year.
Unfortunately, not all websites have Vietnamese as an option, but if you can navigate it, it is a valuable tool to have.
Yeah, it's just important to know that your life is precious and that that it's worth it to do all these things in the long run, because you don't want to be another victim. You don't want somebody to rob you or take your life, for that matter. You can't trust anybody out there, and that they are looking, you have to think the worst, that they're looking to kill you. So it's either you go out, it's like that survival. I'm trained to, survive, and you have to do anything to survive, because the main objective for me as a police officer is to go home at the end of the day, no matter what it is. If I'm in a gun battle, my job is to go home. You can't put a price on your life. You just have to do anything and everything to get out of that situation, and you can't trust these people who are attacking you to saying that they're not going to hurt you, because they are out to hurt you.
The truth is, if ever you are put in a position of danger, you only have a moment to react, and knowing these techniques won't always guarantee your safety, but it is something that is meant to help you be prepared. We hope that you will never have to use these techniques, but that if you had to, you will at least have some options at your disposal. Your life is precious, so it's important to take the extra step to be safe rather than sorry. Until next time, we hope you learn more, live more, and always stay in focus. Thanks for watching.